What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the team at Awesemo. And today we are talking some college football national championship, and we're going to be talking Prize Picks, our sponsor of the show. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. Without further ado, let's bring you to Prize Picks and talk some of these player props we have available to us. It is just a single game, Alabama taking on Georgia for the national championship, a rematch of the SEC championship. And first off, this game is a 3-point spread in favor of Georgia. Alabama, they're the underdog here after winning their previous matchup. The total is 52.5 points. So first and foremost, we're going to kick this off in maybe a little interesting spot, but it is going to be Stetson Bennett in the run game, where we have 11.5 yards as the prop. And this is one we are going to hit over. Stetson Bennett, very mobile quarterback. He's a guy that has 283 cumulative rushing yards on the year. In the first meeting, he actually only had 11 on the dot, but this is still a spot where we have Stetson extremely mobile, under projected. We currently have him at 25 yards, but looking through the game logs, Stetson Bennett eclipsed this mark in 8 games this season. So this is one we can certainly look over on because he's already shown the willingness to run and scramble, and he's been very adept at doing so. Also, a much more competitive game than we've seen Stetson play through most of the year. Again, Georgia, their margin of victory was one of the best in the country playing in the SEC East. They only played one game they didn't play any games where their margin of victory was less than 10 points outside of the loss to Alabama. So that is something to monitor. They should be more competitive here. Our next prop, we're going to go to some receiving ones, a market where, we have extra props comparatively from what we normally get from PrizePicks because of the single game nature, the high profile game. So we can definitely take advantage of some of these. The first one is Jacory Brooks, 38.5 receiving yards. He filled in for the injured John Mechie in almost a 1-for-1 role in the semifinal against Cincinnati. Jacory Brooks played a lot more than even a Slade Bolden, who remained in his gadget role. Jacory Brooks was almost on the field for every single receiving route. And of course, he's not going to have the same projection as a guy like Jameson Williams, who's going to be the alpha receiver for this Alabama team. But we still have Jacory Brooks projected for 47.5 receiving yards. It's a spot where Alabama's still the underdog in this game. They're a 3-point underdog, which suggests they should be throwing the ball. It's a team that already ran 77 plays per game, one of the fastest offenses in the country, and their pass rate is nearly 52%. So they're already throwing the ball a lot. Then in the first game, we saw Alabama expose this Georgia secondary, which is probably their best path to victory. In that game, Brian Robinson played well, but he still only averaged 3.5 yards per carry, whereas Bryce Young was hyper efficient and threw for over 400 yards. That should bode well for not only Jameson Williams, but Jacory Brooks here as well. So looking to the over on that prop does make some sense. One we'll take a look at towards the under is the receiving prop for Zamir White, who by all means is in a timeshare in this Georgia backfield. And he's been mainly an early down grinder through most of the year. The prop here is a little elevated because Zamir White has actually seen 2 targets apiece in each of the last 2 games, but he's still a guy that has just 9 targets on the year. Conversely, James Cook has 28 targets. Kenny McIntosh has 23. Those are the 2 main pass catching backs in this offense. And in their last game, we saw the return of Kendall Milton. Milton is not a pass catcher, but he still is a functioning back in this offense. They'll use 4 backs. And Milton, if he steals any snaps away from Zamir White, is going to reduce his chance of hitting the over on this prop. So right now, 14.5 is a solid towards the under. We actually have it projected for 7.8, one you should feel pretty comfortable with here. And our final one, we're going to stick in the receiving game and hit Jaleel Billingsley, Alabama tight end, over 15.5 receiving yards. So this is a spot, again, where we're expecting Alabama to be playing from behind based on the spread of the game. Alabama uses 12 personnel at one of the higher rates in the country, and Billingsley has been very involved in these game scripts that are competitive. In the first game against Georgia, Billingsley had 5 targets, and he's now averaging 2.3 over Alabama's last 4 games. With Mechie leaving the field with an injury, this should only increase the rate at which Alabama is using 12 personnel. We currently have Billingsley projected for 26.5 receiving yards, which is 10 yards north of his prop here, which is another solid one towards the over. But make sure to catch our live before lock show. We're going to go through plenty of prize picks on there, get into even more than what we covered on the stream today. Before we head out, let me know in the comment section who your favorite plays are on prize picks. I am Matt Gajewski on Twitter at Matt_Gajewski. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again soon.